Hello, everyone, and welcome in. This is Aaron St. Denis at FF Mad Scientist. I'm joined by Jesse Moeller at jmoeller05. I am also joined by Jeremy Shulman at FF_Rebel and SC Romero at the PPR show. We have the wacky, wavy, and arm flailing tube man down at the bottom. Welcome to the fantasy football universe. We are here for Rookie Mock Draft 3.0. This one is super flex and tight end. We're going 3 rounds. We've got 4 of us in here. We're each going to draft 3 times per round. But before we get into it, I just want to remind Jeremy of one thing. That's
growing on me.
Calvin Ridley all season.
I feel like that intro makes us like a little tech company.
Yeah,
too,
we are.
so I love
We're
it.
a bunch of tech bros drafting. So.
It's like an old Windows 90s commercial. So
Yeah.
All right, we don't have to start this up. I'm just gonna do the number picks here. Why? I love how when I switch this around, I put. Let me look. That says. What did I miss? Okay, those are super flex, right? Okay, well I'm gonna move one, and I'm just gonna add the quarterback because it should be.
No,
that's why.
just a flex.
That's why it's the setting is off. I put it as dynasty. What's the word I'm looking for? Dynasty single QB, not 2 QB. We're good. Now it's changed. Oh, I see Marvin Harrison has moved up officially to 102 in ADP. That's interesting. And Drake May. Why is Jaden Daniels? Anyways, let's get into it. All right. So with the first pick, I am going to go the easy one here. Set player. Caleb Williams. Anybody have any major disagreement with Caleb Williams there?
No chance. Caleb Williams clearly, and he's going to be a Bear. I think that's pretty set in stone at this point.
Oh, can I take my pick back? All right, you're up on the clock, Jeremy, at 102. Who do you want?
It's hard. It's hard not knowing where these other quarterbacks are going to go, right? Like, listen, we talk all the time in Superflex, and I know Jesse's been like slamming it home on all these podcasts, right? You got to go quarterback here. It's so hard to do it because you just don't know where these guys are going to go. Caleb Williams, I don't have the doubts in him that I have in May or Daniels, even though they've looked great. Marvin Harrison, there are a very few spots where he can go where I'm not going to be excited about him. But the
Someone
more
have the sound on, or is that me? Why are we ticking?
Why are we ticking? Probably because there's a ticking time bomb going off, waiting for me to select Marvin Harrison.
No, but you can't. It's the draft hasn't even started. I'm manually picking for you. I don't know why it's ticking.
No, I muted mine already. So
anyways, I just muted it. So that's interesting. Interesting point. Did you see that tweet yesterday that a lot of NFL GMs actually have JJ McCarthy as the second quarterback in this draft?
It's happening.
Over May. And, yeah, well, that's where I had it, but I'm a Michigan homer. So, anyways, who's your pick here, Jeremy?
It's so hard. I think this will change once the draft rolls around and once we see where these guys land. But right now, it's Marvin Harrison. It's he's just look, he's as much of a sure thing as Jackson Smith and Jigba was last year, right? And he didn't really produce much. Although he had some choice words to say about his OC who left the other day, right? So, look, who knows what's going to happen here? I may end up May or Daniels here at the 102, but right now it's Harrison.
All right, that means it is Jesse.
Yeah, and this is the thing that's going to happen in Superflex drafts is we're going to get Harrison going really high, and possibly people are going to take Neighbors as well really high. So it's going to push these quarterbacks into the 103, 106 range.
I know.
And that's why I'm really not interested in moving up. Yeah, like I'm definitely not going to take Neighbors. I know, like, he's awesome. I have him in the same tier as Marvin Harrison Jr., but it's the quarterbacks. It's always the quarterbacks. Like, if I have a chance to get a possibly elite game-changing quarterback, their ceiling far outweighs any skill player because a skill player can only go so high in Superflex. Like, it's really hard to get past the 106 range if you're a skill player. Like, that's Justin Jefferson. and you can't put him any higher. No one's gonna be like, I'm taking him over Josh Allen. I'm taking him over Mahomes. Like those guys. That's just kind of it's just yeah. So like I'm.
But we've had this conversation before with last year's draft class. Say Bijan hit, or Gibbs. Gibbs hit pretty damn well. Both of them are valued as top 5 consensus running backs.
Yep.
Wouldn't you rather have Stroud and Richardson hands down? I'd probably rather have Stroud over both of them.
Yeah,
combined.
Stroud's like 103, and he's literally like a top 3 super flex starter.
If the quarterback hits, it's just
that's the thing.
It's worth
we want the high ceiling
players. Yeah.
So
who's your pick here?
Yeah,
it's Jaden Daniels. And he's a riskier. Like I personally, I'm kind of risky with my selections. I don't mind diving into uncertainty. His upside we saw basically he would single-handedly be a broken fantasy football if people were playing college football last year. Like he was absurd the things he did, and he had neighbors. He had Brian Thomas Jr., but I don't even care. Like the upside's so high, I'm just gonna chase it. Like he's not as much of a sure thing as May, but if I'm chasing for ceiling, I'm going Daniels here.
All right, you're up.
Nice. I will say, Jeremy, your camera lagged, so when you got that cup, it stopped and then it just went straight to your face. And I was like, bro, Jaden Daniels is a good pick. You don't need to get mad about it there. But glad you're okay there. So I mean, normally I would go Malik Neighbors. That's my guy there. But I think at tight end premium, I'm gonna go ahead and get the tight end one when I can. This slate, Drake May can wait. So I mean, I'm gonna go ahead and get Brock Bowers. Go ahead and smash it. He's the only one that's there, especially that tight end premium gives you a little bit of a jump there, right? A little bit extra points, and he's gonna get it, man. I think he's going to be a top 10 pick. Whoever picks him, you're damn well going to utilize him. Why? Because they don't have Arthur Smith like the Falcons had with Kyle Pitts last year. So I think that's a smash pick right there at the tight end premium.
I think it's a Christmas present for me is what it is at 105 because now I love the 2 picks I have left here. I either have love for Drake May is a strong word. I love that a quarterback fell to me, or what I have as the RB2. I didn't expect to have this decision. I was going to take whoever SC didn't take out of these 2. I didn't see that one, SC. You threw me right off here.
Curveball, baby. Let's go.
Left turn ahead, I see. I am going to go with the quarterback. If this actually was a real team and I had 2 picks, I probably would have gone the receiver instead of going quarterback. But in Superflex, assuming these are 2 different teams, I'm going to take the quarterback here. You are up, Jeremy. Jeremy?
Yeah, this one's easy. And I can't believe it's Neighbors still there, but it's Neighbors by a mile. If you can hear me, can you hear me?
Yep.
Yeah, we heard you.
We got you.
Malik Neighbors. Cool. Yep. We've got such a crazy lag here, but I'm just going to talk and hopefully it'll all come through. Malik Neighbors. He's the end of a tier here. Some people will put Rome and the 107 at the end of the tier. I just think Neighbors is head and shoulders above even him and anyone else who's left. Rome is kind of, for me, his own tier by himself. I wouldn't have minded Neighbors as early as probably the 104, but I think these are the top 6 guys. It's just going to depend which order you have them in.
I love the pick. I'm more excited about the fact that I got documented proof of Jeremy saying he's delayed, so we're good. That's a win-win here. So. Jesse, you're on the clock now.
I mean, we all know how much I love Rome Odunze. He's another. So we're gonna have 3 wide receivers that go top 10 this year. Rome Odunze is going to be the 3rd. He might go ahead of Neighbors. That's entirely possible. He goes in the 4th or 5th pick. It could happen. I don't know if it's going to happen, but he's a really good prospect. And I think being in the 107 or anywhere in that range, you're guaranteed a good player. So I wouldn't be worried about trading up from this range. Some people are worried because they're like, oh, it's Rome. He's on the same tier. For me, same tier as those guys. He's 1C of that group. I just think he's a really, really good NFL player. And he doesn't have the same, yards per team pass attempt as those guys. But everything I've seen on him, I love the tape. I love everything he can do. He's going to be a very good NFL wide receiver. So I don't have much concern for him. Once you get past this pick, we get to 108, then it's kind of like a free-for-all because you can make the case for a ton of guys.
Thinking that. I think these 7 are guaranteed to be the top 7 in a different order or whatever order. I was actually interested to see who SC picks here because depending on who he takes at 108, I think it's a consensus top 8. But what's up, SC?
Unless, I will say top 7, yes, unless you had JJ McCarthy or Bo Nix slip into the first round. If they slip into the first round, I think that changes their capital, that one of them ends up being in that top 7 as well. But I agree. And now here, I'm stuck between the top 2 wide receivers on the board, I think, in Franklin and Brian Thomas. I have Franklin over Thomas, so I'm going to go ahead and take him in that situation. I think they're, Odunze, Franklin, Thomas are that second tier wide receivers for me. So whoever you get at 108 between Odunze and Franklin, because I have them higher than Thomas, is what I'd go with there.
That's what I was hoping you would take, because I think those are the consensus 8. And for me, that's the teardrop right there. The first, like the big drop off comes at 108, assuming you have Franklin in. I think it's those 8 in some form. And then it's, do you want the big drop into the next running back or the next quarterback class, the big drop here in the next receiver group, or do you want to go? I think at some point you're going to see a running back get either draft capital or a good landing spot, and they're going to get into the conversation at the back end of the round here. Oh, it's me on the clock. Damn it. This is not a spot. I say this every year in rookie drafts. 109, 110, 111. Someone asked me the other day, they were saying they were negotiating for Breece Hall. They wanted to acquire him. They have the 109. And I said, if I have the 109, I'll give my entire 9th pick draft class for Breece Hall.
Yeah.
But when 109 gets here, it's not like having 103, 105. 109 gets here. I don't like any of these options.
It's a giant tier, right? That's the problem. Like we don't have any definition on it. So there's the with these big tiers, and when you're in the early spot of a big tier, that's never where you want to be, because you're taking a wide range of guys. You usually want to be in the back end. Yeah. So if you're in the beginning, like I agree. Like if you can trade out for like ideal players or anything, I think that's the best route to go. But there's going to be guys in this range who hit. It's just we don't have a clue who they are right now.
But like I've got 3 receivers here in the same class. I'm excluding Coleman. I have Thomas and the 2 Texas receivers, 2 quarterback. Like it's a nightmare. What were you gonna say, Jeremy?
I was going to say, especially this year, it's already well documented that the running back class is poor coming out. Take one of these later picks and trade for a vet running back who is guaranteed production, and just kind of round out your room there, other than kind of hoping you're going to hit, unless you're really, shallow at wide receiver.
I would trade 109 for Rashad White if you can.
Oh, I would
just
do
straight
that.
up.
I hate it.
Like so after the draft, though, we're going to get like either the quarterback's going to fund me the 108, 109 spot, or there's going to be wide receivers who get that like tweener draft capital, like between like 10 and 20. Someone's going to be in that range. So like, I'll feel better about it than we do right now. It's just the uncertainty right now with lack of draft capital.
Yeah, it could be Sky Moore.
Yeah,
it was like everybody's like 108, 109 last year. Right? But like you said, you just don't know with this group.
It is your 110, Jeremy. I went with Brian Thomas. Brian Thomas Jr.
Oh, good. You left me. You left me, my guy. It's Xavier Worthy for me. Just punch him in. The production, I know we're a little concerned about it, but he had an elite athletic tight end over there. He had Adonai Mitchell, who's going to go right around this range in rookie drafts. And Quinn Ewers, we're just not sure exactly how good he was. Xavier was just, he was just fantastic, torching guys. His routes are electric. He's quick and fast. I wish he was a little bigger, but you could say that about some of the, faster guys in this class here. I think he's going to be I'm thinking about, is it Xavier Worthy or is it Troy Franklin, who I'm going to draft at the 108? So he's pretty high for me. A lot's going to depend on what happens in the next 2 months here. But yeah, he's right there for me with the top receivers in the class after Rome.
Who do you have next, Jesse, at 111?
So this is the ideal spot to take the quarterback, where who gets the draft capital. I think it's going to be JJ McCarthy at this point. So that's the guy I'm taking, because even with guys you don't like, such as like Kenny Pickett, the year after they're still starting their draft cap, like they get a boost in value because people expect them to be starters. So realistically, I think it's a really easy pick to sell, like a year from now, but a starting quarterback to a team that is in need. But like overall, I think McCarthy is very interesting as a talent. I like some of his skill set. He's just a pure mystery box because we did not see enough from him in college. So it's basically me betting on the youth plus the draft capital plus the traits. I'm not 100% sure if he's going to be good or not in the NFL, but if somebody takes him top, like, Denver or any one of those teams, like, you just got to believe in talent.
All right, SC, finish out the first round.
Well, I was gonna take JJ McCarthy, so that ruined that. I think I'm gonna take my top receiver on the board, and that's Adonai Mitchell. Bo Nix was in consideration there. I think he's a second round pick. I'm hoping he gets back to me at 204 at that point to pair with Bowers there. But I think Adonai Mitchell, between him and Coleman, I like him a little bit more. Coleman's a little bit stiff for me. So I'm gonna go ahead and get that top receiver for me.
All right. To recap the first round, we have 1, 2, 3, 4 quarterbacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide receivers and a tight end. It went from 101, Caleb Williams, Marvin Harrison Jr., Jaden Daniels, Brock Bowers, Drake May, Malik Neighbors, Roma Dunze, Troy Franklin, Brian Thomas Jr., Xavier Worthy, JJ McCarthy, and Adonai Mitchell. Me up at 201. This is normally where I like to steal a tight end here. I like to take the second tight end for me. But lately, Sanders has been kind of clumped together more with Sanat, Stover, Bell. So I think I'm waiting here, and I don't want any of the running backs yet. This is going to change, though. As we get later past the draft, one of these running backs is going to go here or at the end of the first. Mm-hmm. So for me, it's Keon Coleman, who slips in every one of our drafts, and I don't know why. Having said that, I'm going to pass on him for Knicks, though.
I was thinking the same thing. He keeps falling.
Every time we do one of these, he falls.
Yeah. Yep. People just are not. They're just not sold. So he's the guy that falls because we just have more questions about him. Even though, sorry, someone like Adonai Mitchell, I have questions about him and Worthy as well, just because their profiles are incomplete. It's really, you're picking in this range. Like, this is kind of the back end of that range of the tier. For real, for me, if I wanted to take my running back, I could take Brooks right here. You could take the quarterback that falls with Bo Nix. Like, you have good options. You can take Coleman as the top wide receiver. So realistically, it's not a bad spot to be. It's just super undefined. So, and we don't know draft capital. I'm assuming all guys get good draft capital. I should go Bo Nix here. But I'm just going to take the top running back at Jonathan Brooks. Or it's not even my pick. Why am I talking? Don't ask. Yeah.
It's Jeremy's. But I'm noticing that
you said exactly what I was going to say, Jesse. Throw Brooks right in there, and I'm going to snipe him from you because, look, the only other consideration here for me is Coleman. I just don't like what Bo Nix has been, what we've been hearing about him over the last few months. He's fine. I'm not sold. We'll see. Keon Coleman, we don't know, but if I'm looking at this team and I already have MHJ locked in, I don't need to take a shot on Keon Coleman. I'll take a shot on the RB1 in this class, who I think we all agreed. I don't know if SC chimed in, but we all agreed, the three of us, that had he not been injured, he'd be the clear-cut RB1 in this class. You're taking a gamble on the injury, but maybe Trey Benson is okay in the RB1 spot, but yeah, give me Brooks.
I think too, with the exception of Jeremy, who really liked Xavier Worthy, if you don't have a big preference of any of these guys, there looks to be almost no difference between 109 and like 204. It's all, once I got to 109, it's like I could have taken any one of these guys with the pick. So this, I think from 109 all the way to the 206, it's all going to get shuffled up on draft day. So Jesse, you're on the clock.
I will say, if you want to, so there's a lot of uncertainty with that 109. If you want to go get it now, because someone, like we're talking about, someone's going to get the draft capital, somebody's going to get boosted. Like, it's going to happen. One of those teams like Buffalo, Kansas City's going to draft a wide receiver. So, like, he'll get shot up.
A running back's going to move up too.
Yeah. So, like, I think now is like the cheapest you could probably get the 109 because of the uncertainty. The closer we get in the draft capital, it's going to rise. So that's going to be how it goes. But yeah, like in this range, I don't mind. Like, I'm really high on Bucky Irving, so you could make a shot on him. I'm just not convinced he gets the draft capital. That's my one concern. So I'm going to play the game of I'm more sure that Keon Coleman gets it and just go with him here and just take the wide receiver that continually falls. He seems to be the guy that nobody likes as much, so I'll just take him here and roll with it.
The running backs, I mean, you're 100% right. If Jonathan Brooks was healthy, he's the RB1, but because of that injury, he's not my RB1 right now. So my RB1 is Trey Benson. I do like Blake Corum a lot too. I think for me, I would just
Trey Benson.
Yeah. Okay. So I think I would go Benson here just because of my rankings. That's where he is. But I think Corum is the other option because I think Corum may get the better draft capital, to be honest, just because he was a touchdown frenzy back, and especially if he goes to the Chargers where his head coach last year is now at, then I may take Corum here. But for now, I'm gonna take Benson.
205 used to be where I'd take the tight end here or the tight end here, but I went quarterback here. I think now with the tight ends, there's a few of them I like. I think I'm going to take a running back here, and then I'll take whoever's left at tight end over here. So already we see things are kind of, my draft strategy is evolving on the fly here. I am going to go with, for me, it's between Allen or Corum. I think I'm just going to go with Corum.
Homer.
Yeah, I didn't go with, last time I think I went JJ and Corum. So
nice. I mean,
that means
look,
you, Jeremy, you were up.
It's still a fair pick. So now here at the 2-6, now we're really, shaking up the board. I'm looking at these top names here, even in a tight end premium. I'm not going with Sanders at this point. I'm just not, like you were mentioning, for me, I'm just not sold that he's the definitive tight end 2 right now. I really like Sanat. Braylon Allen, sure. Penix, sure. He's a good value with quarterback, but we need to scroll down a little bit. And we're going to go with the guy who's a little bit smaller than I'd like, a little bit slower than I'd like, but who's got everything else, and is Ladd McConkey. We're going to slot him right in there at the 206. And, hopefully he gets into, a team takes him and knows what they want to do with them, and they just feed him as much as he can handle. Will he be able to get open consistently? Probably. He had a good Senior Bowl, so we'll see how it shakes out.
Next up, right when you started describing him, I was already over Ladd McConkey. I knew you were talking about him. Like, this is a Ladd McConkey pick. I can tell where he's going with this.
Yeah. So if this is the
FYI, just real quick, if you have a commissioner that changes the settings during the draft, leave that draft. Okay, don't have a commissioner.
No. Okay, did you see why I did that?
Yeah, no, I see it. So
I did it because I wanted to be able to sort by this right here. I didn't do it originally because I didn't want it to go to 4 rounds, but you're absolutely right. If someone changes this, don't do what I just did unless I'm doing it to make it so easier to sort for our mock here. So, because I noticed we're starting to talk position by position. Yeah, Essie's right. Don't do what I just did in a real draft.
That's the definition of collusion right there.
Yeah, don't do that. Yeah. I just drafted the best tight end, so let's go and quadruple the value of tight end premiums. Yeah, don't do what I just did. Entertainment purposes only, guys. I was just making it easier to sort down here for our visual appeal. It is now Jesse, now that I completely ruined the draft.
So I'm going to go, this is part of the draft where I'm fine just YOLOing with your guys, because specifically we don't have draft capital, so I'm assuming everybody gets it. But it's the running back that I love out of Oregon is Bucky Irving. He's smaller, I get it, but the guy can just do so many good things. Like, he's near the tops of the draft class in missed tackles force. He's a nightmare in space. Like, he could be a pass catching weapon. He does, if he was bigger, I think a lot of people would mind him. He's a little smaller, but yeah, I'm a huge fan of Irving and everything he does. I think he has a chance to be a PPR weapon in the league. So I'm gonna take my shot here with Irving.
And next up is SC, and I'm guessing it's going to be Audric Estime time, but that's just my guess. What's your pick?
Well, it was gonna be Bucky Irving, but Jesse once again took my guy. So let's see.
You haven't learned by now. We've done 2 of this is our 3rd one. You haven't learned he's not going to let Bucky Irving slip.
Nope, no shot.
Yeah, Oregon players right here. I could have had them both, but now I had to pivot here. Estimate's good. In a super flex though, I'm convinced that I may go Michael Penix. I don't think 208. I don't think that's bad. I don't think he would get to me at 212. So I think you take your shot on the quarterback, and he's arguably the next best one on the board, right? So I think you go Michael Penix here, and you just roll with it. Like Jesse was saying, at this point in the draft, you're just kind of going on value. Yeah, you want to hit on some guys, but a super flex, your quarterback's going to have more value if he hits than any of these guys. So take that flyer, and I'll go Michael Penix.
Yeah.
I don't mind that pick. It just made things difficult for me. I was hell-bent on pulling the trigger on Jatavian Sanders, but at my last pick, I debated between my two of the running backs I liked at the position, Corum and Allen. And now that Allen's still on the board, I think I have to go Allen and just pass, because there's only one tight end off the board, and essentially there's three tight ends here. I don't mind, so I'm just gonna play positional scarcity. This is kind of the tier based drafting. I think Allen for me is the last of the tier. I don't mind these guys here, but I think they're a tier down. These guys are all on a tier. Well, not these guys. Scott should be way up higher. Same with Bell. I don't know why these three are here. This is stupid ranking, but for me, Allen is the only one at the top of the tier, so I'm going Braylon Allen. Is it like what's going on here? Did anybody else see that?
I'll let you do it.
I'm trying. Oh, there we go. No, the first time I did it, it spun when I clicked on it. That's weird. Jeremy, you are back up on the clock.
Okay, I was just talking some shit about him before, but give me Jatavian Sanders here. I mean, this part at the back of the second with, in a tight end premium, you're just betting on athleticism here. With Penix gone, with most of the running backs with question marks, and only one other guy who I'm going to remain quiet on at the moment that I might take here. We'll see if he falls. We'll see if he falls. I'm doubting it, but we'll see.
I'll tell you one thing. Go ahead.
But Sanders has the ability and the opportunity, depending where he goes, to slot in. I'm just not necessarily confident that he's going to go to a team that features him right away.
I'll tell you one thing. If you're doing your draft right now, your rookie draft, you better damn sure know what you're doing. This is not a rookie time to be doing them.
Yes.
Because these sleeper draft or like ADP is whack because we said yesterday, was it yesterday or the day before, me and Jeremy, AJ Barner is ranked higher than these guys. AJ Barner has 641 career receiving yards in 4 years.
He wasn't even the best tight end on his own team.
No, he wasn't. He was
what are we doing?
I don't know why I get it. People get the urge to draft and then want to quit all these leagues later, but don't do any rookie drafts until after the NFL draft. It's
if you're going to go that route, you got to prioritize safety and insurance as draft capital. So it's a lot. Like if we're doing this in real life before the draft, some of these guys are fucking risky to take in this range. So I would be shifting my draft picks.
Remember 2 years ago when Malik Willis was the 101 or 102 and everyone said he was safe and he ended up going he could go top 10, he could go top 5, could go top 15. Yeah. Next thing you know, he's a 4th round pick, 3rd round pick.
NFL hoodwinked us. Yeah, his over under was 9.5 the day of the draft. Like people thought he was legit like a locked in 1st round pick. Like,
what do you go, 3rd round?
Like 3rd or 4th round, to the Titans.
3rd, I believe. Then the next year they got Levis.
Yep. Yeah.
So like we got to speed it up.
Point, I'll just say Detroit's point. Yeah, it's difficult right now with rankings just because we don't know. So I appreciate that. I'm with you right there. I'm going to reach for my guy here, who I think is the best wide receiver on the board, is Jalen McMillan. Like I am very big on him. I think he's a good PPR weapon in the league. And I think he's got I like a lot of these guys in this range, but it's not the best because I could probably take a running back like SIM or but I'm just going to go with my favorite guy on the board, and that's McMillan. And I think he's just knocked down because of the injury. If he didn't have the injury, he'd be a lot higher draft board.
Is he not in?
No, he's down. He's like the wide receiver 5 or 6 in the rankings right now.
Oh, there he is. Okay.
Yeah, he's way down there. I could have waited, but I don't want to wait for him. I'm just going to grab him.
All right. SC, you're up next, and we got to keep going here because we got 15 minutes to finish out the round.
It's all good. I'm gonna go estimate. I just think that's the best back on the board right now. So I mean, at the 2nd round there, like you said, you're shooting for the stars here, hoping you shoot for the stars and hit. So estimate, I think, is a good chance he can do it all: catch, run, what you need. So,
not a fan of the 301 here. I don't mind Michael Pratt. I like Will Shipley. Not a fan really of any of these wide receivers in this range. So, having said that, I'm going to go with my tight end 3, Ben Sinnott here. Oops, I got to do it the proper way.
Dude, he's going to be in the league for a long, long time. He's just going to be an NFL player. Yeah.
So it used to be Bowers and Sanders were the top tier. I have Bowers in his own tier, and then I have Sanders, Sinnott as tier 2, and Stover, Bell as tier 3. Next up, Jeremy.
Yep. So this clears the way, and I have no guilt in selecting this next player. It's Malachi Corley, wide receiver. Look, the Debo comps are out of control, right? Every year, people on TV and with podcasts want to comp somebody to Deebo Samuel. But they've been comping this guy to Deebo since high school, right? So it's not just come out of nowhere. He plays like I'm sure. Is he going to have the production? Probably not. But, you hope that a team gets him. I think when we talked about it the other day, Aaron, I think we were talking about the Jets as which would be a really interesting, really nice fit for him. Learn from Randall Cobb, start to, develop a rapport with a Hall of Fame quarterback and, be able to help open up that offense a little bit. If he goes anywhere else, maybe not nearly the fit that we're looking for. But, he has the potential anyway to be a PPR machine. And be what we all hoped Rondale Moore would be and never became.
Gosh. We can hope, right?
You give him a Deebo comp.
We're all
that Deebo comp depends on the coach that uses him, right? So I mean, the coach just has to utilize him right to get that production. What if he goes somewhere like Miami? He's not the top guy; he's their slot guy, but yet they need the running backs, right? So they need someone that can definitely go back there.
That would be.
He's Deebo, but if he goes to the wrong coach, he's Rondale Moore. Yeah. That's what happens if you go to the wrong coach. He's Rondale Moore.
Yeah, you have to be a good wide. The thing with Deebo is he's a good wide receiver, and a lot of those guys aren't. So that's why he's able to thrive. And I mean, obviously, it's Shanahan offense, but a lot of those, like Rondale Moore, Stells Proves, like a lot of those Laviska Shenaults, like they just don't work out because they're not good wide receivers. But yeah, if Corley is a good wide receiver, he'll be productively good. There's a ton of wide receivers I like in this range, so I'm going to grab the running back who I have the highest on the board. That's Marshawn Lloyd. I think he has a chance to be one of the better backs coming out. There are some concerns with his vision and things like that, but I think he's a good overall back. And in the right system, he could be an asset to your fantasy football team. So in the early third round, I'm happy snagging him here.
I should have got him at 212. He's my RB2, but I think Estimate might get that better capital. Here, man, I think this is a steal here, and I think everyone's gonna get him in the third round, maybe late second. But Rose during the Senior Bowl, and that's Spencer Rattler, quarterback. Someone that he's not gonna start right away, but third round, I don't really expect any of these guys to start necessarily right away. So you take that flyer again in the super flex. I mean, he has the capability to come in and be a Davis Mills, if you will, like a backup, but then gets a year or two maybe of some solid production. And that's when you trade him, right? If you get these guys at third round and then can flip them and trade them for a first, I would do that. So I'm taking him.
Quarterback's interesting. It looks like you have 4 going the first round and then 4 the rest of the way. Oh, it could be more because I'm going to take Michael Pratt here if I can do it properly. I'm going to take Pratt. He's the last one. Like, I don't mind. I love Joe Milton as a cannon, but Sam Hartman's okay. But Pratt, for me, there's 8 quarterbacks that are draftable. Obviously, if your draft goes 4 or 5 rounds, it's deeper. But we're getting to the point where there's no other quarterbacks I want.
Yeah.
There's a couple of running backs, maybe 2. There's a handful of receivers and 2 tight ends. So that was the last quarterback that I have as draftable. So I'm going Pratt. So 4 in the first round, 4 in the final 2 rounds is how it goes. You're up, Jeremy.
Yeah, QB is smart right there. So I don't really have anything to do except go right back to the wide receiver well, especially with this team 6. We got, Neighbors, we got McConkey, and now we're going to add Ricky Pearsall. Again, you're just hoping for a guy who can find and maintain a role and become a PPR machine here. Again, another guy who looked good at the Senior Bowl. Not too many holes in the game. I find that personally, I'm steering more away from the Xavier Legette, Tez Walker sort of mold. Just because they're big guys, just because they're fast guys, doesn't mean they translate. So give me Pearsall.
There's still a handful. Like, we've got 6 picks left. I'm looking at the board. And there's still 6 or so guys I would actually draft. So
that's why I took the running back, because there's a ton of wide receivers I like in this range. So I wanted to get the running back because whoever falls here, I'm fine with. I'm going to take the guy who basically won the Senior Bowl, and that's Roman Wilson. Like, he dramatically increased his stock probably more than anybody did at the Senior Bowl, except maybe Spencer Rattler. Like, those 2 guys were they did a lot of good things. So even though he's a little bit older and he never had that elite production, I think he's a good NFL wide receiver and will step in and be a plug and play right away. So I think the floor is pretty high with him.
I'm going to end up taking the wide receiver with that last pick, but I'm going to go ahead and get Ray Davis here running back. I think that is the next teardrop, like the last part of the tier before him, and now we have another teardrop. So I'll get the best running back on the board there.
Yeah, that was a tank.
Okay, I agree. For me, there are, with my last pick here, there's still, I think, 2 viable tight ends.
Yeah, that's good.
There's no viable quarterbacks. I have one running back left in Shipley that I'd want, and then wide receiver, I've got 1, 2, 3 maybe. One, I really like Polk. These two are kind of I think Rice is just because of a legacy. I think he's going to get a shot. Johnny Wilson's the size, but the only one I really think draft were worthy of a running back selection here is Shipley, and that's who I'm going with my final pick. Jeremy.
Oh, he's not moving.
Jeremy.
Yeah, it's a good one. And that doesn't leave me much personally with anything. I'm here.
They make your pick because you're cutting in and out. He's not.
Type it in the chat if you're done.
I like how he was like, I'm in, and then it went away.
He's like, hey, I'm not in.
in.
I'm not in. All right,
Okay, we're going to give him a second here. I know SC's got to get going in a few.
Yeah.
He is out. He will come back in. We'll give him a second. Otherwise, I'm just going to pick.
He's
there
back.
He is.
We're back, baby.
Oh, the tube man.
You made it.
Who's your pick in case you cut out?
Give me that guy. Who cares? Give me Brendan Rice. I mean, listen, he's not his father. He's never gonna be. But you just hope that dad can be in his ear enough and help him. I mean, he's a good enough wide receiver. I don't think Tez is big. He's fine. Xavier Legette, he's fast. He's fine. Polk is a good receiver, but let's go with Brendan Rice and just end of the third round, just throw a dart.
For me, these last 2 picks are either Polk or a tight end, depending on if you like them. But we will see. What do you got, Jesse?
Yeah, so I'm gonna change it up because I want to kind of talk about this guy. It's the tight end that is going to follow the Darren Waller track road, and that's Johnny Wilson out of Florida State. He's a giant mofo. Like, he's just massive. And I think his best way that he succeeds in the NFL level is they transition to tight end. So I'm assuming it's going to be a developmental project where some team's going to draft him. He's going to take a year or two. Then he's going to slowly become that, like, the hybrid tight end who can play out wide and do those things. So
I'm going to chase him. Completely off. You said tight end and then said Johnny Wilson.
I'm expecting him to be a tight end at the next
Me too, but he's not listed as a tight end. That's why I'm like, what? He's a receiver. But yes, I expect that too. And I guess we'll close it out with USC because I think you're on lunch. You need to go back to work.
Yeah, and this really becomes hard because there's so many wide receivers on the board, right? I like Walker, like Legette, like Cowing, like Thrash. I mean, guys that in the third round, you're taking that flyer on, right? But in a tight end premium, though, I think you can go Jaheim Bell here. I think that's a good pick. I think he's a tight end that will see the field. He can block. He's athletic. So, again, you get that extra spot for him. I think that's a good pick right there. And then you go hit that free agency wire with your fab and get those other wide receivers.
Absolutely.
All right, and that concludes it. So I skipped the second round, I guess. We had, at the 201, we had Knicks, Jonathan Brooks, Keon Coleman, Trey Benson, Blake Corum, Ladd McConkey, Bucky Irving, Michael Penix, Braylon Allen, Jatavian Sanders, Jalen McMillan, and Audric Estime. And in the third and final round, Ben Sinnott, Malachi Corley, Marshawn Lloyd, Spencer Rattler, Michael Pratt, Ricky Pearsall, Roman Wilson, Ray Davis, Will Shipley, Brendan Rice, Johnny Wilson, and Jaheim Bell to round it out. So we ended up seeing it's 8 quarterbacks go, 1, 2, 3, 4 tight ends, only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 running backs go, and the most of them were wide receivers, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, like 11, 12, 15, 15 out of 36 picks. What's that?
Almost half the picks are wide receiver, yeah.
So.
And there's still some on the board.
Yep, like in the fourth round, you just I guess that's interesting. So I crossed off tight end here, but the only tight end that I had left on the board was Cade Stover that I think was draftable. I don't really want any of the quarterbacks, at least not in 3 rounds. The running backs, I'm out on pretty much all of them, and the wide receivers, I liked Polk. If you're a Walker or Legette guy, go for it. I'm not in on them. I like Cowing, so it would have been Cowing or Polk for me. I don't know. Was there anyone you guys really, really wanted if you had another pick? Yeah, I mean, you can make a case for somebody like Burton if getting the draft capital because he's going to fly, right? So there's guys in here that will jump up based on how they run at the combine and things of that nature.
All right. Well, that is a wrap on our 2024 3-round rookie mock draft 3.0 super flex and tight end premium. Check back tomorrow. We've got some rookie profiles on the YouTube channel, and check back, or there'll be a full write up of this, or you can see the rookie sneak peeks over at fantasyfootballuniverse.com. For Aaron, Jesse, Jeremy, and SC, thank you all for tuning in. We will see you next time.